I'm Nick with Rugged Shooters. Told you that we would be back for episode 2. Hey, so today, I know you all are going stir crazy from the quarantine, not being able to go out to the range, not being able to shoot your guns. Alright, so we're going to talk about some things that you can do at home to always stay ready. The first thing that we're going to talk about today is how to figure out which eye is dominant and which eye best suits you for shooting. So it's really simple. I want everybody to make a triangle with their fingers, and they are going to focus on one single object. They will then close their left eye. Then they will open their eyes and they will close their right eye. Whichever eye did not move that object outside of the triangle is your dominant eye. So for instance, I pick a target as such and I close my right eye, the camera moves outside to my left, your right of my field of view. But when I close my left eye, it stays in the center. That tells me that I am right eye dominant. And that is probably what eye you should be shooting with. So I suggest you pick either put a target on the wall or pick a book on the bookshelf, put it dead in the center of that triangle that you made, and close both eyes and figure out which one is your dominant eye. So today I've got my SIG P320 out. Obviously it's clear. I've got 2 magazines here, and that's about it. I didn't bring out any more magazines, and so this is something that anybody can really do at home as long as you have the gun, a holster, and 2 magazines. You don't even have to have a belt. Just run it straight off the side of your hip. All right, put your magazine. You can even do it from your pocket. It takes a little bit longer, but some of your pants have magazine pockets like this, and those take a little bit longer too to kind of get the magazine out. But if you have a belt holster for a magazine or anything that holds a magazine, you can run this drill. So the drill is very simple. I'm going to turn to my side here, or diagonal, so that way you can see my full body angle. Alright, the first thing is stance. You want to go a little bit more than shoulder width apart, and you want to put the weight on the balls of your feet, but not to an extent that you're falling over. You want to ensure that you have most of the weight though on the balls of your feet focused at your target. That way you are centered up to the target. The next thing you want to do is you can either start from the top of your head, or you can start from hands by side, right? So for this drill, we're going to start from hands by side. So for this drill, I'm carrying a Black Hawk holster here with a retention safety. All right, so I'll have to activate the retention to unlock the pistol. All right, and these are just free floating magazines. I don't have any Velcro that's holding them in. Yeah, it's free float, and they go right inside the magazine pouch. All right, so I'm gonna pick again a target on the wall. All right, I'm gonna ensure that my pistol is cocked. All right, and all I'm gonna do is about 50% speed. So I'm gonna reach up. I'm gonna unlock the pistol. At the same time, your left hand should be moving up to your chest, ready to receive the weapon. So again, I'm gonna grab the pistol, I'm gonna receive the weapon and start getting my hands inside of the weapon. All right, so a lot of people ask me, well, how do you hold the weapon? And I've seen all kinds of crazy things, right? So I've seen people holding it down here. All right, I've seen people holding it like such. I've seen people wrapping it. Okay, at the end of the day, it's going to be whatever you feel comfortable, right? There's no right or wrong answer to this, but there is a better solution, and that is the thumbs forward method. Okay, so we're going to talk about the thumbs forward method real quick before we get into the actual drill. So the thumbs forward method is when you draw your pistol and you go to get ready to present the weapon to the target, right, or the punch out. All right, you should be having a full grip on the pistol. Let me see if I can bring it in for you guys. All right, you got a full grip on the pistol. All right, and this thumb is kind of laying out across the top of the slide. You don't want to put it up too high, or you will definitely catch your hand on the slide. And you also want to have a high purchase on the firearm, but not to the extent where it's way up here, so when you cycle that weapon cycles from firing, it actually catches your or pinches your skin up here. So you want to have a high purchase, as high as you can go on the firearm. And then you want to take your hand, and this is a unorthodox way of moving your wrist, but you kind of want to push your wrist forward. So as you are presenting the gun, you're grabbing and wrapping your fingers all up together, and you're actually laying that thumb as far forward as possible underneath the slide. So again, in kind of a slower motion, it's going to be here, and I'm laying and I'm rolling my wrist forward. Instead of just having it here and putting my thumb forward, I'm actually rolling my wrist forward to kind of fill in the gaps. And as you can see, there should be no gaps in between your hands. So if I were to holster my pistol and I was to present without a pistol, this is kind of what it would look like. All right, so now, again, you're gonna draw the pistol, you're gonna present it, and you're gonna try to ride the tip of your finger. You're not gonna try to wrap your finger, you're gonna try to ride the tip of your finger on the trigger. So, again, it's here, boom, and I'm gonna spin around for the camera to kind of see. Boom, all right? So that's the first part of the drill, is just presenting the gun, getting that hand motion right every time. Now, for those of you that are running red dots and those of you that are running iron sights, your posture is going to be a little bit different. So one of the things that I like to do, obviously I'm running a red dot today, is I try not to move my head to the red dot, but the red dot to my head, or the gun to my head. So, and it should be the same way relatively when you're using iron sights as well. So as you come up, I want to always be able to find that red dot as soon as I come up, within a split second. So I should be able to come up and find the red dot every time. And you can run these drills 5, 6, 7 times just to warm up before you start your reloads. So again, I draw, present, find the red dot, pull the trigger, nice and slow. All right, and you're always coming back to your chest, so in case that threat comes back up again, it's easy to punch back out and re-engage that threat. So we'll try to do this with a little bit more speed, about 70 to 80%. So reach up, punch out, find the red dot. Reach up, find the red dot, pull the trigger. All right, you do not pull the trigger until you have found your target and you have found your red dot, okay? All right, so now that we have talked about how to actually present the weapon and hold the weapon, all right, we're gonna continue moving in to how to align your sights. All right, so with one that does not have an optic on it, you wanna do 2 things. You wanna find sight alignment and you wanna find sight picture, right? So those are 2 completely different things. Sight alignment is the way that you are looking through your iron sights, and you are actually making everything symmetrical. You are actually taking and I'm using my fingers here, but you're actually taking the V cut in the back, the rear sight, and you are lining it up with the front sight, right, straight down the middle, top to bottom, as flush as possible, right? So once you do that, you're gonna move that to your target. After everything is symmetrical in the line, you're gonna move the sights to your target, wherever that is, whether it's right in front of you or not. So again, I have suppressor sights on this, okay, so I can actually see through my iron sights when I do that, or see through to my iron sights, and I don't have to use the red dot. So when I come out, I'm actually making everything symmetrical, and I'm moving, and this is all moving at a quick pace, all right? So sight alignment and sight picture. Sight picture is where you place that symmetrical sights onto your target. So I'm here, I draw, I see my target, boom, I'm on it. everything's symmetrical, I am ready to fire at that time. All right. Then you go into some of the more, they're basic fundamentals, but the more advanced fundamentals of actually firing the weapon. You talk about trigger squeeze, okay? So a lot of people, when they shoot rifles, they do what they call the pin method. It is a method that has been taught in the military for years. Snipers use it, special forces use it, all right? And that is where you pull the trigger, you hold it to the rear, the weapon cycles. Obviously, this is a really fast motion. Once the weapon cycles, you let go of the trigger and you should hear a metallic click, which means that the trigger is resetting. On this, it's a little different. So again, I'm gonna cycle the weapon, get ready for it to fire. I'm gonna present the weapon and I'm gonna pull the trigger with my tip of the finger. So I pull the weapon, and what I'm doing is I'm pretty much allowing it to bounce back, right? So I'm allowing the trigger to reset, and when it resets, it pushes my finger back, or I let it push my finger back, so that way that I can pull the trigger again faster, right? When I need to engage multiple times. Those are all, there are several different ways to pull the trigger. This is the way that I like. I like to slap the trigger. So again, that looks a little something like this. So moving forward from that, now that you know how to properly draw the weapon, how to properly hold the weapon, and now you know how to properly execute the fundamentals of actually firing the weapon, now we have a problem where we need to put more fuel into our weapon, meaning we need to put more ammo into our weapon, right? So a lot of times when you're shooting a weapon, the weapon will be engaging, bang, 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 and the slide will go back like this. And this is for all you new shooters. I'm sure that there's a lot of advanced shooters out there that don't need to hear this. But the slide will go into slide lock, meaning that the slide has locked back. Once that has done that, you are usually, unless you have had some kind of failure to feed, failure to extract, or failure to eject, 9 times out of 10, you are out of ammunition. So there are several ways to do this very, very effectively and very, very fast. Okay? So for this demonstration, for being at home and being quarantined, we are not going to actually work in slide lock. We are actually going to work with slide forward. So to do this drill, to reload, we're going to do this very slowly, and then we'll speed it up as time goes on. So effective reloading is being able to identify your workspace. A workspace is here. Not here, not out here, not here, here. And to do that effectively, when you have presented the weapon and you have brought it back, all you're going to do is bring your triceps back to your to where they touch your outer stomach or your outer ribs, all right? And you're going to reach for this magazine release, which releases the magazine that's in the weapon. When doing so, a lot of people have trouble reaching. Even on this full-size P320, I have trouble effectively reaching the magazine. So sometimes I have to adjust my grip just a little, just to manipulate that magazine release. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to understand and get into a groove of when you go to represent, you got to move it just a little bit to get back on target. So with that being said, we're going to run through a reload drill, and I'm just going to stay in my work zone. It should look a little something like this. So as you see, I am automatically reaching for my magazine. When reaching for the magazine, it all should be simultaneous. So, why? Because you want to refuel that gun as fast as possible, and you want to get back in the fight. So, in retrospect to everything, you should be able to reload everything in 3 seconds or under. And with doing these drills, it should be more between 1.5 to 2 seconds reload from the time that you fire that first dry fire. So it should look a little something like this. As you can see, I came back, I rolled my wrist back into my position, and I'm ready to engage again. You have a trigger a tap, and you're ready to go again. Put your magazine back, and you're ready to start the whole drill over again. It's that simple. You can do this for an hour. At least I can. And it just breaks down the simple fundamentals of how to reload your firearm in an effective and speed manner. All right, now that we've got the basic fundamentals and the basic workspace knowledge of how we're going to reload, we're going to start doing these drills a couple of times just to get used to bringing it back into our workspace, keeping our eyes not only on the target, but looking down to see when you feed that magazine into the well. A lot of people don't understand that your eyes cannot kill the target. So I would rather look down at my pistol for the 3.5 seconds to reload it, and not even 3.5, for the 0.3 seconds to reload it and get an effective reload so I can get back on target, than I would staring at my target and fumbling around with my magazine. So we have talked about a lot. The one thing we have not really paid much attention to is what's going on down here with your non-firing hand or your support hand and grabbing the magazine. No matter where your magazine is, hopefully it's on your non-firing side or in front of you, right, with your bullets facing forward. An effective reload means that you're going to grab as far down onto the holster, or onto the magazine holster as possible, and start riding that palm up, so that way that your finger rides the top of the magazine, and it should look just like this. A lot of people will grab the magazine here and have all of this here, and when they go to reload the magazine, they're clipping it on the side and they're fumbling around trying to get into it. So you want to take up as much space as possible when trying to effectively reload. So without dropping the magazine, I bring up to my workspace, I grab out, I watch the magazine go in. As soon as I know that the magazine starts sliding, I take my eyes off, I press up with my palm. So again, from this side, it looks like this. I pull up into my workspace, I slide out, I slide in, I'm back in the fight. So with a magazine in, it's going to be the same thing, just in more hyper speed. So I'll be here, I'll come present my weapon, I'll take a shot, oh no, I'm out, I'm automatically reaching for my, or filling, whatever you got to do, right? But you should know where your magazines are. I'm automatically reaching for my next magazine, I'm releasing, I'm reloading, I'm turning that wrist out to get a good firm thumbs forward grip, and I'm firing again. So we'll speed it up. That was about 10%. We'll speed it up just a little bit. So from here, I'll charge my weapon, I'll come out, I'll pull the trigger, I'll release, I'll reload. I'll pull the trigger, nothing will happen, and you'll put it in your reholster. Then you can just keep running this drill. Hey, one of the things I like to do is I like to recycle my mags, right? So a lot of times in my videos, you'll see me, after doing these, you'll see me reload into a new magazine. That's because this magazine is the one that's always just hitting the ground. Is it gonna mess it up? Probably not, but after a year of doing that, or 6 months of doing that, it could mess them up. So I try to cycle them out so that way they don't take that much of a beating. But I also know that I have dry fire magazines, so when you get a little bit of extra cash laying around, you know, go buy you some magazines, and you save those for the range and these for letting them get beat up. Your other magazines are going to get beat up on the range enough. No reason to do it here when you're not actually firing. Again, we're going to speed it up just a little more. So I'm here, boom, pull the trigger, manipulate, boom. And I'm all in my workspace. From the bottom of my chest up here is my workspace. There's no reason to have the weapon way up here, because now you have just blocked your internal view of what's in front of you. All right, we'll speed it up, hyper speed this time. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's some drills you can do while you're on quarantine. I suggest that you practice with your weapons. I suggest that you clean them, that you research online, and hopefully you're watching our channel, all right, to learn these tips and tricks. And there will be a lot more 1 reloads 1s. There will be a lot more 222 drills, target transitioning. Those are all things to come when we are actually on the range with live ammunition, ready to employ these great, powerful weapons that we have. So you heard it here first from Rugged Shooters. Let us be your voice for the Second Amendment. Get out and practice with those weapons. We have a duty, for those of us that do carry these weapons, we have a duty to practice with them for ourselves, our families, and everyone around us. It says a lot about who you are as a person, but now we need to practice with those things. They are trying to abolish our Second Amendment right. And as I've said in previous videos, it is a right and not a privilege. A privilege to own and carry a firearm. Do the right things and support the Second Amendment. Rugged Shooters, out.